Win up to £25,000. The Community Lottery, a subscription-based lottery that allows you to continue to support good causes that matter. When you win, good causes win. Every month, eligible good causes have the opportunity to win a share of funds that could help them continue the good work that they do in our communities. To apply, there's no complicated forms, nor do you have to be a registered charity. Just grab your phone, send us a 60-second video explaining your good cause and the difference having extra funding would make to your project. Visit thecommunitylottery.com. Hit the play button and sign up for either 13 weekly draws or by direct debit for just £4.35 that gives you 4 weekly draws. You could have the chance of winning £25,000. The aim of the Community Lottery is to create an additional source of funding that will enable good causes to undertake innovative projects that matter. If you're in, the communities win.
You ready? You got me running, got me running. Shake it, shake it, shake it, baby. Raise your hands up. Raise them up.
Good evening, and welcome to another episode of the After Dark Show. I am super excited today. We've got an amazing show for you. So, all the singletons in the house, let me hear you say, yay! Okay, because we know that we've just had Valentine's Day. And so much has happened, so many calls, so many texts, so many messages about Valentine's Day. But what we have here for you this week is we have an extra special guest who is going to be talking to us today about dating, that very first date, how to get it off to a good start. We have Trey Innis here, British born, but living in the States, and he's taken time out to come and talk to us this evening about our dating antics. But before we go into that, I want to just update you on last week's show. So last week we had the Red Letter Tuesday. Red Letter Tuesday was about a young lady. I call everybody young, as you know. And this lady, let me take my glasses off for this. This lady had sent in a letter and said, that there was no intimacy in her relationship with her husband, and that there had been no intimacy for 2.5 years into their 11-year marriage. And we were like, wow. So with myself and the panel, we had this debate. And there was a little bit of arguing last week, I must say. It was like, really? Anyway. So I have heard from our writer, and I can report this, that as a result of the show, my girl, and I'm going to call her my girl, decided to go on an excursion. She decided to play Columbo. Yes, and she followed her husband because we couldn't understand why there was no intimacy, why he wasn't interested, why, they were living like roommates. And it turns out that he was having an extracurricular activity within the marriage. So where it stands now is that the two of them are in conversation. They are trying to work the situation out. But our writer has messaged in to say thank you. Our conversation gave her the courage to take action. She wasn't taking action before. She didn't know what to do. And she decided, you know what, I'm going to lay wait him. I'm going to see where he's going. I'm going to see what he's up to. And lo and behold, she found out. Everything that's done in darkness must come to light. So we are here at the After Dark crew. We are here to support, and we are here to help. So if you have any dilemmas, any queries, any problems in regards to relationships, please do not hesitate to message us, and we will do our utmost to help you out. So that's last week's show, but this week's show, we have a special guest. So before I bring him into the mix, I am going to tell you a little bit about Trey. Let me just bring up my information. We are in a world of technology. Okay, so Trey Innis moved to America in 2004 after his MBA at Cambridge Judge Business School to pursue a career in project management in a foreign country. He completed his relationship therapy license in 2018 and set out to create the First Date Fix, which you can find him on Instagram. Okay, at the First Date Fix. And he's helping people to master the first date and be successful from then on. He appeared in Cosmopolitan, 51 First Dates podcast, and the DBS podcast also. So since 2018, he's helped over 67 people get into serious relationships, 3 ended in marriage. He enjoys walking his dog Edmund, which you may see this evening, and he enjoys playing basketball, reading, and completing yard work. Now we have a little clip. We want to tease you a little bit before we bring in this handsome man. We want to tease you a little bit. So we have a clip for you of Trey in action on his on his Instagram channel. So, Mr. Technician, can you bring
What to do if you're alone on Valentine's Day? Order your most favorite deliciously unhealthy dish. Avoid love triggers. No rom-coms, no love song. Make plans. Give a gift. No negative self-talk. You are enough. It won't always be like this. Be optimistic and focus on self-growth. Don't be a hater.
Woo! So you can don't be a self-hater, you know. Don't do it to yourself. You don't want to do that. No, you don't. Without further ado, I'm going to bring in this handsome man, Trey Innis. Come on, put your hands together. Even though we can't hear you, put your hands together for Trey. Hi, Trey. How you doing?
How's it going? Feeling fantastic. Thank you so much for having me on the show. Very much appreciate it.
You are very, very welcome. Thank you so much for being here this evening. And as I've been telling our viewers at home, you are a relationship expert, first date guru. You are the guy to go to. I mean, I've been watching, I've been following you on Instagram. So, I keep an eye out and I'm thinking, who's doing it? Who's causing waves? And you're the guy.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I always like to say I'm more of a dating and relationship coach, just because to be an expert means that you can fix anyone's relationship and dating issues, and I can only go as far as I can go. But I appreciate that nod nonetheless.
Okay, no worries. Now, Trey, I don't know if you know anything about this show and how it works, but we do have a panel. We have a panel of, they are not experts, they are just ordinary people, but they are here every week. Let me just give you a brief overview of how this show started. This show started at the beginning of lockdown, the first one last year in March. And I was having a bit of a rant at Boris Johnson. I went on social media and I was like, yes, I was. So I was like, what? So is Boris going to send out the pum pum police? You can't have no one in your house and all these things, you know? That's what it was about.
Yo.
Yeah. So it's a show like that. You can talk freely. So as a result of that, this show started going on through Zoom, and it's grown and grown and grown. And now we have the After Dark show, and it's a relationship show. We talk about all the elements of relationship. So this is how it started. So we have a panel, and they are here, and all the panel members this week are single.
Okay.
They're not, I don't believe they're singlish. And singlish means, with a bit on the side.
Oh, we know.
A bit on the side. Yeah,
bit of this, bit of that, bit of schwa.
Yeah, that's right. So these are truly single people. And so I'm going to bring them in to the mix now and introduce you to the team. Okay, who have we got? Hey, Faye, this is Faye.
I try again.
Good to see you, Faye. Good to see you. Always a pleasure.
Thank you, and you?
Hey, girls.
Hey,
Yeah, what up? What up? What up? What up?
Hey, I'm good. Hey.
And we've got Delroy.
Hello, Trey.
How's
Good
it
to meet
going?
you. I'm fine. Good.
Blessed,
And we've
black,
got
and highly favorable.
And we've got Lolly.
Thank you.
And Tony. All right, so Lolly, your camera needs to be a bit lower because right about now we just seen your breast. That's right, lovely. Thank you.
Yeah, it's not that kind of show. It's not that kind of
It's
show,
not.
unfortunately. We'd be making a lot more
not
money if it was.
Yeah, I think we would, Trey. I think we would. Right,
Hi, Trey.
And we got Tony as well. He's in the mix as well. So this week, guys, we have Trey here. Trey is going to be talking to us, and I want you guys to feel free to ask him a few questions. Don't make them too difficult, please. But some dating questions, because this group of people here are all singles and want to mingle, and especially in this lockdown period. I know that there are many people who have found lockdown love. How them do it, I don't know. Well, I do, but how they do it, I don't know. But Trey is here to give us some tips. And also we have our keyboard warriors who no doubt will be sending us messages from Facebook and YouTube as we go along in the show. So the first thing I want to just welcome everybody onto the platform and say good evening to those who are on Facebook, those who are on I keep saying Instagram. That's your fault, Trey. On YouTube. That's me plugging. I will plug your platform as well on Instagram as well.
Come on.
So, yes, so you can find Trey at The First Date Fix on Instagram. Yes, you can. But we're going to have a lovely, lovely time this evening. So Trey is going to be with us for about an hour of the show, and then we're going to go into another segment of the show after that. So as we know, it has been Valentine's has come and gone, but this is our special Valentine's show. And what I have heard, what has come to me from the Valentine's conversations I've had is, how do we now move forward in our dating? How do we date? Who makes the first move? A lot of people are talking to me about games that people like to play in relationships. So guys, panel members, I want you to get ready to ask Trey some questions and your dating questions, and pick his brain, because he is a relationship coach and expert. I'm going to put the expert in there. I've said it.
I appreciate it. I'm flattered, sincere.
Well, that's the new way. That's the new terminology now, isn't it? That's what they say. When you're on platforms like this. But it's down to. I do believe that even as an expert, it's down to the person that you're working with to go into action and do what they need to do to make those changes. So if you don't action the steps, then you're not going to have the outcome that you want.
Well, I have to have you in there next time someone tries to sue me for not getting them married in a year.
Absolutely. I'll be your defense lawyer, don't worry.
Story for another time.
Okay, cool. Okay, guys, so I'm going to go to our panel first, and I'm going to throw it out. Actually, no, I'm going to ask you a question. So Trey, I'm going to set the team. So Trey, I'm going to talk from my own perspective as a mature woman, even though I don't look so mature sometimes.
Is that melanin?
It's got to be said, isn't it? So, what I find is that, how do I, as a single woman, go about approaching a guy from the perspective of, we've spoken, who after we've spoken and we've walked away from each other, who should really make the first move? Should it be the female or should it be the male?
So, there are so many different factors when it comes to it, but I'm going to keep it in as simple form as possible. So no matter how progressive we say we are in 2021 or in the last 10 years, when it comes to the initial stages of dating, the first 3 dates, it's ultimately up to the man to take as much action as he possibly can. However, if you are a woman on the opposite side of things and you generally are interested, you have to make it as easy for him as possible to be able to read the signs. Because unfortunately, not all men are created equal, i.e., sometimes you have to beat someone over the head with a baseball bat and say, I'm interested, before they actually know that they have to make a move. In addition to that, because men typically do have to be pursuers, a lot of them might have a lot of baggage or trauma where they've been hurt in the past. So they need a clear-cut sign that you are actually interested. So if I'm a woman and I'm interested in a man after the first date, I'm not going to ask him for a second date, but I will say, hey, such and such, I had a really good time with you when we went out for drinks. I would love to see you again. That way, as a woman, you put it all out there. And if he goes and runs with it, then great. But if he doesn't, then you know he's not interested, because typically men are people of action.
Okay. So if he doesn't come back and make any plans, he's not interested. So don't go and say, oh, I didn't hear from you, so I thought blah blah, but we could meet up. Don't do that, right?
Exactly. So I'll give you an example, right? And someone put this to me when I first started in my career. It said, look,
Thank you.
if Halle Berry turned around and said, yo, I got $1 million at my place and you can have sex with me tonight and you can get $1 million. And let's say you didn't have a car, you didn't have a pass, you didn't have a bus pass. Would you or would you not find a way to get there? You would, because you're bound on it. You're interested. I want $1 million. I want to have sex with Halle Berry. So if a man's truly interested, he's going to move heaven and hell to meet with a second date. Especially if you put it out there and you turn around and you say to him, I had a really good time, I would love to see you again, and he doesn't do shit, he couldn't care less. It's that simple.
Okay, thank you for that. Ladies, especially the two that messaged me the other day. I know you're watching the show because I've seen you come up on the feed. There is your answer from a man's perspective. Thank you for that. Thank you for exactly the same, but thank you for that. Because sometimes when you say to women, as a woman, when you say to women it's X, Y, Z, and it's from the male perspective, they don't necessarily want to take that as gospel. They want to hear it from a man. So I'm just thanking you for that, Trey. Thank you so much. Right, so I'm going to open it up to the panel now. I'm going to ask them to ask Trey as many questions as they like, really. So, guys, are you ready? Do you have a question for our panelists today, for our expert? Faye, you've got your hand up, then Kels will come in after. So, Faye?
Right, so I'm finding it difficult to even get to the dating stage. I'm finding that men that I'm talking to at the moment or have been talking to in the past, their conversation kind of dries up after a little while. And I'm finding it difficult to even progress to get somebody to give me a call. So I'm very call orientated. So I like picking up the phone and having a conversation. I seem to have trouble or be finding people who just don't want to have phone conversations, and then it kind of puts me off. So then I kind of blank people after that, if you like, because it's one of the things that I like. So if you're not giving me the telephone conversation, then I kind of get bored. I'm not a text conversation person. I'm a telephone person. So when I make that clear, and then they revert back. But I seem to be finding people who are just constantly texting, and I can't do the text. Any tips?
So I think, in those situations, what we're having is, and I like to call it conflict communication, where your specific way of communicating doesn't necessarily align with someone else's way of communicating. And I think it's very interesting because this is before either of you have even gone on the first date, which means you're not really going to know if you're going to hit it off with that person anyway. So if you have to have an audible phone conversation before you meet someone, that is going to alleviate a lot of opportunities that you might be missing out because you're so fixed on one form of communication. Now, I don't necessarily think that your form of communication is bad, but I would entertain at least one date, whether it be a video chat or whether it be actually meeting them for a coffee or a drink, just to see if there's a spark. And if there is a spark, it's so much easier for you to lay out your standards face to face and vocally versus via text. Because if someone is very specific about what they need to meet, and I haven't even met them, that comes across as slightly aggressive because I can't hear it, I don't know the intonation, and I don't know the kind of message that they're trying to convey to me. Versus if I was face to face with you and you said I had a great time, but I would like to hear from you via phone. I love phone conversations. I can see your face. I can see the nice intonation you have in your voice. I can see your smile. And I turn around and say, absolutely, I'm a bit uncomfortable about that before, but I just met you and I feel like you're great. I would love to call you. So it just really depends on what kind of give you're willing to sacrifice in regards to two people's kind of communication style.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But the other thing is, in this lockdown situation as well, I'm trying to be creative with going out for walks and coffees, and again, it's the kind of thing where I don't know, people are just not receptive to that either. They're just not receptive to the different ways in which we have to now date because there's nothing open. So we now have to have a conversation in the park or grab a coffee, or how do I maneuver that too? Because, you know, obviously until we're out of the lockdown situation, and you know, we can't go in a restaurant and we can't go to a bar or something like that.
You know, I'm loving the paradigm of dating in a pandemic because I feel like it really thins out the herd anyway. To be blunt, I think a lot of people before the pandemic really didn't know how to date, and a lot of people were kind of trash because they were using going to a drink, they were using a fancy date as a crutch because a lot of them didn't have personality. So I actually think when it comes to dating in the quarantine, just keep it simple and say, let's just do a video chat. That is the bare minimum. No matter what happens in your relationship, no matter what happens when you're dating someone, the only thing you're both going to have is your scintillating wit, your conversations, and your communication. When the chips are down, when the sex is out the window, when there's no money to be spent, when it's just you and him and you, the only thing you're both ever going to have is your communication, your banter, and your wit. And if you have a video chat with someone and they can't do that bare minimum, then your moment has already been decided, and you never had to leave your house. You never had to get COVID from them. You had an hour video chat. I recommend everyone do a video chat because the mere notion of you offering a video chat to someone, if they turn it down, then they were never really that interested anyway. Those people who are truly interested would lap up the opportunity for a video chat. But if they say, I don't know, I feel a bit awkward online, I don't really know, they're not really that interested because, like I said, the person who is truly interested in you is going to want to get to know you no matter what. So unfortunately, in this pandemic, it's going to be significantly harder to find someone that fits that criteria. But when you do find someone, it's going to be more concise that this is a person that might actually be worth your time.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, this is going to be... Yvonne? Can't hear you, Yvonne. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Kels.
Okay, I can hear you, Yvonne. Okay, I'll just carry on. Yeah, this is going to be very interesting because you're hearing it from a female point of view and now from a male point of view. And I think this pandemic has done me as a man a lot of favors because my spending is just dropped. And
He's a prophet.
You know, it's just dropped and it's been stripped right back. And I do love talking, Faye. I do love talking. I'm not trying to now make this as an advance. Okay, there are some men out there that do like to talk. You know what I mean? Faye, you're like a big sister to me in that sense. You know, there's some things that I can maybe want to do. You might take some Ray nephews to show me some stuff. I don't mind that. You get me? You know what I mean? We've talked about that. Yeah, but I think I think the pandemic has stripped things right back. And it's definitely when you're on a dating app, you can talk in length, and you can go to the park, you can go on a bro's bike, you can go for a walk, you go for a coffee and talk, you know. And Mr. P is not on here because he's not single, but we have like a good bunch of us that we talk about things like this, and he's like the senior of us all, and he says to us that when he was dating a long time ago, he would go on, like, you see somebody for like 6 times without even buying anything, or might buy a drink or coffee, stuff like that. So you strip it right back. But anyway, this is my point, is that your opening, if it was a promo, I'm not sure exactly what it was, it seemed as though that was really catered for the men, because it was things like, if you're in doubt, if you haven't got much confidence, that's not something that females really need, because it's the men that's approaching the women, right? So I think it's really, it is really more therapy in a sense for men. At the same time as well for women, because some women I've spoken to, and it's like they just demasculate a man, okay? And so some things that they say, it's like they've got to be taught as well how to respond and to be careful on their responses. And sometimes it's like they just expect too much. They expect so much. You know, it's like women, well, men just need about 6 things. For women, it's like 101 things. And if one of them is not on there, you're in trouble. That's how it feels like sometimes. So it's just having that discussion with you in a sense. I've heard what Faye has to say, and it's great. It's just finding that guy that does like to talk, that does resonate with you, because he's out there. Because I'm here, but you're like a big sister to me. Get me, right? So it ain't gonna happen like that, right? Okay, right? But they are out there, you know. At the same time, it's for women as well to realize that, you know what, they've got to kind of, you know, give them a bit of room and space. But that's what I want to say to you in terms of what it seems as though a lot of the work is really done by the guys, because you're opening from your advert seem that way.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, Kels. I think what you're saying is, it goes back to the point that I was making when, you know, the things that women ask of men in the initial stages of dating, you want to at least wait to meet the person, or at least have a face-to-face video chat, because then it just comes across better. Because you talked about, you know, emasculating someone, you know, when you say things like, if your tone doesn't come across in a correct way, then you're going to come across as aggressive. And if there's one thing that men do not like, is aggressive women, especially women that they haven't met. You know, no matter how much society, you know, we embrace equality between man and women, men are still statistically, 88% in fact, attracted to feminine women. And that's how you want to come across when you're having any kind of online conversation, especially via text, just because text can be interpreted in really any kind of way. So you want to come at it away, you know, from a feminine way, if you want to get those kind of responses from males. And going back to what Kels was saying, you know, again, it's still expected for the man to put in a lot of legwork in the initial stages of dating. So as a woman, all you essentially really have to do, if you are interested, is just don't make it hard for him. Try and make it as easy as you possibly can until you decide ultimately you're not interested.
Yeah, because just one final point is that the fact that the man has contacted you means that he's obviously would like something to happen here. So as you're saying, you know, to kind of make it easier for him, and it's like, if you're now going to start to demasculate him, he's going to try to kind of save it. But if his confidence now goes down, or he feels a bit disheartened, that's it. He's obviously going to. And then for the woman as well, she's gonna sense it and think, oh, he's just a waste man, you know. So there just seems to be something that needs to be done a bit more in terms of the correlation, or the relationship, or the just the understanding that we want something to at least even have a good conversation, you know. And if not, it's cool. We can move on from there. It's not all women, you know what I'm saying, because I've spoken to a few and they're cool. I mean, and then, but you have some, it's like, damn, man, that wasn't nice, you know. But anyway, yeah, that was me. Thank you for that.
You know, I think it goes back to, you know, to every, if we talk about online dating, right, to every 1 match a man gets, women get 10. So a lot of reasons why women are expecting a lot out of men is because whatever you can't do, there's always going to be a simp down the street who's willing to do what you're going to do, because he doesn't have as much opportunities as you do. So I think when we talk about the differences between men and women now, is that women have far more access to opportunities of dating and romance than men ever have. They have Instagrams, they have social media, they have Snapchat. You know, like I said, when it comes to online dating, to every one match a man gets, women get 10. And in London, you know, you could have an attractive woman who's, you know, even moderately attractive. There's always going to be a clown across the street saying, hey, mama, and he's going to be going over there trying to talk smack. So what I'm saying is, women have far more opportunities when it comes to dating, which means that a lot more is expected of men because they know that they're always going to be able to have their pick of the litter, essentially.
Yeah.
Okay, I'd like to come in here and ask Kelly on a question. When you say these women are demasculating you, or men, what do you mean, and in what way? How are they doing that? So that we are all clear, so the women who are listening can understand where you're coming from.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. That's the next. I've got an example. I was talking to one young lady, and she said that she had somebody to come and fix her shower. Right now, you can see where this is going, right? I tell you, man. I told you this is going to be a very interesting show. It's going to be fun, especially after Fate, right? And then I saw it as a situation, because I'm a talker, to start fishing. So it's like I said, so, you know, somebody coming to fix your shower head, right? So I'm fishing to see if, you know, I'm kind of more doing indirect conversation. She's thinking that I'm actually wanting to lay out my services to actually come and fix it. I actually wasn't actually putting that across because I don't know where to say that. I'm just saying, is there somebody out there just so that she can maybe like kind of get it, right? And then so what happened after that was we then start talking about what women can do, what men can do, and I'm all up for women that can do things for themselves. You know, I can cook, I can clean, you know what I mean, I can paint or whatever. Also, that's a man's thing anyway. I can do things that women, you know, will be maybe thought of doing. But when you're single, there's all the things you have to do for yourself. So I was like, yeah, women that can fix a car or paint, great. And then I turned around and said that at one point I couldn't paint my mum's passageway. So I got somebody to do it because I was too busy. And it was a woman that came and done it. I saw it on Instagram. She just came at the right time. I saw her work. I said, yeah, that's great. Come and paint it. And then she turned around and said to me, oh, no, that's not good. You know, you should have been painting it for your mum. And I'm like, well, I was too busy to do it. Oh, yeah, but basically, you know, that's the man thing. I wouldn't trust you to actually come and fix my shower then. Ooh. Ooh. I then had to say to her, listen, if it's Stormzy, Idris Elba, if it's John Boyega, we get busy, yeah? We want to paint our mum's passageway, but we're doing things. So we'll get somebody else to come and do it. Even if it's a woman, it looks like she can actually do the job. We just want the job done, okay? So I'm not going to really put it down to a sex. It's just that I was busy. I've painted my mum's passageway or hall room or whatever before, or sitting room, but this time I couldn't do it. And then she went and pulled that one out. And I just thought that wasn't good. I thought that was just disgusting. Like,
So
go on.
How I'm confused.
That is demasculating, by the way. That is demasculating.
So that made you feel emasculated.
Sorry, emasculated. Sorry, I'm saying demasculated. Yeah, definitely. Of course it would, because you're talking about my mum. I am not able to go right now to go and do something for my mum. I've got somebody else to do it, and you turn and say to me, "Oh, but she's your mum, though. You should have trying to make time for her." I'm like, "Well, yeah, but I just couldn't do it at that time." Okay,
is that not just an opinion, though, Kelly? Are you being sensitive here? I'm just asking. Okay. Are you being sensitive here? Because it was it's her opinion, it's her view of the world, right? She feels that, you know, look, I'm a mother, I've got sons. If I want the hallway done, painted, and they say to me they're going to send someone over, they send someone over. It's no big deal. And if I said, well, my son said, it's no big deal. So I'm just trying to understand why that statement would emasculate you.
Right. If it was the other way around, where the woman turned around and said that, oh, I would cook for my dad, but I went and I got somebody else to go and cook instead, and it's seen as a female thing, and it's like, oh well, no, hold a minute, you should be doing that because you're basically a woman. I would never say that.
It would, to be honest with you, if someone said that to me, that would not bother me.
Yeah, but that
it wouldn't make me feel less feminine. Put it that way. It wouldn't make me feel
Yvonne,
less
that
feminine.
might be you, and you do have traits of that would be alpha as well. Yeah. Okay. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's there's no denying that.
I'm saying that if I'm speaking to somebody for the first time, I'm going to be careful about some things I say, and I don't think that was the right time to pull that one out because you're talking about.
Okay, I'm going to say this, right? I'm going to say this outwardly. I don't see it, right? In my view, I don't see it. But I think you're being a little bit sensitive, because, and that's just my opinion. The people on the Facebook and on the YouTube, they can put their comments on, and whether they agree or disagree, it's up to them. But I'm just going to throw that. I'm
just saying it's the first date.
Yeah.
So for the first date,
that's you. That's
Yeah,
especially on the first day. The opinion don't matter. These people,
we're not talking
these are
about
new.
opinion. We are talking about certain things that would be kind of like a male role or female role. You know what I'm saying? And then there's certain things I wouldn't turn around and say to a woman, "Oh no, you shouldn't be painting, or you shouldn't be flying a plane." Like, why would I say something like that? I mean, that's just sexist.
I think you're just being sensitive, but we're going to move on. We are going to move on to Delroy. Delroy, do you have something? Do you have a question?
Let Tony go.
There you go.
I haven't got a question quite yet. You know, I'm listening first, but I have a question shortly. I'm thinking.
We're getting a lot of feedback. Is that your mic, Delroy? Is that your mic?
Most of it is.
Yeah, if we put ourselves on mute, I'll put on mute. Kel's mute.
All right, can you hear me now? Hello?
Yeah,
That's
we can
better.
hear you. We can hear you, my brother.
Okay. Oh, have we lost? I didn't realise that we'd lost Lolly. Maybe our internet's gone. Okay, so we'll carry on with the conversation. I don't think Tony's got a question either. He was saying he hasn't got a question right now. So, okay, so Trey. There's a thing about as Kellyon brought up about feminine and masculine energy, and Kellyon quite rightly says I function in the masculine energy, and I don't know if you know anything about masculine and feminine energy, but the one thing I do know is we all operate with both.
Right.
One sometimes is harsher than the other. Sometimes it's balanced, and sometimes it's not. So how from that perspective of my response to Kellyon, in terms of, because one of the things that I recognize in dating and what females say to me is that they feel that men are not as masculine as they would want them to be. It's like it's all of men want women to rub them down and pacify them, make them feel, really big them up. And some women are feeling like they haven't got time for that. If they're in the relationship, it's one thing, but through the dating experience, that's not what they're prepared to do. What do you say to that?
So, I say this to everyone, but you can't have it both ways, men and women. And I'm going to type by both sexes. You can't have it both ways. If you're a man who likes a woman to be feminine, who likes to cook a meal, you like her to wear high heels and a nice dress and blah, 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 that's fine. You're allowed that preference. But if you want her to be that way, then you have to be masculine. You have to plan the date. You have to prepare. You have to call her up. You have to tell her when you next want to see her. You have to give her those compliments if she's making an effort for how she looks for you. So if you want a woman who's going to be significantly feminine, then you have to be significantly masculine. You can't have it both ways. And I think what we see is we're living in a progressive world, a post-feminist world, right? Where, you know, we want equality for women. We want them to have equal pay. We want all of those things. But what's not adding up for a lot of men and a lot of women is that it's not translating into the dating world, i.e. that same woman who's talking about, you know, equal pay and wanting equality in the workplace is still expecting a man to spend £60 on drinks, get the tip, and invite her out for a date. So my point being, if you're a woman that wants all of those things, that's all well and true, but then you can't expect the man to show up masculine, chest puffed out, V-taper body, 6'2", paying for everything and blah, 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 but then being that same woman complaining about equal pay, which again is not a bad thing. I stand for the women. But what I'm saying is that you can't have it both ways. Because if you're the kind of person that goes on a first date and, you know, talks about all of those things, then you have to be okay splitting the bill. You have to be okay making as much effort as the man. You kind of have to choose what shield you want to fall on in regards to gender roles, because you can't have it both ways. And that's what it will always come down to. If you truly want to be treated like a lady, you want the man to take you out and all that good stuff, then you have to be okay with being a bit feminine, with, you know, kind of leaning into your feminine wiles and perhaps, you know, dropping the masculine behavior whilst he treats you like the lady you deserve to be treated as. So again, you can't have it both ways, and you have to be very realistic to dating is always going to be give and take. One more thing before I sign off on what I just said is that the first 3 dates, a man doesn't owe a woman anything. The first 3 dates, a woman doesn't owe a man anything. I.e., if the man paid, you don't have to have sex with him. I.e., if the man shows up, he doesn't have to pay. The sooner we understand those two things, the easier it's going to get. But I always tell men, you know, who some of my clients are, when you go on a date, just expect to pay the £50, blah, 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 just be done with it, because unfortunately, that isn't changing anytime soon. Questions, thoughts, concerns? I can't hear anyone. What happened? You're muted, Yvonne.
I'm muted.
There we go.
Sorry. There we go. Thank you for that, Trey. Thank you for making that very, very clear. Yes, I liked your answer. Thank you very much. Right. So Michelle says, what if the man is a man of, I think it's going back to what Faye was saying, but she's saying, what if the man is a man of few words, but you still like him? What do you recommend to bring out conversations? Asking for a friend. No lie. Yeah, whatever.
The fact is, look, you can't change anyone. Like if the man's attractive, he's buff and he's everything that you want, but he can't have good conversation and you want good conversation, you're not going to be able to change that. You can't. People only change when they are actively making decisions to change. Now, here's the thing. I've had this happen to me a few times. I have a 3 dates or less rule for everything. 3 dates or less for any kind of kissing. 3 dates or less for any kind of spark. 3 dates or less for any kind of conversation. I give it 3 dates because naturally, not everyone is an extrovert. Not everyone is very comfortable bearing their soul and being vulnerable about when their cat died when they was 8 years old, right? Everyone's different. So what I'm saying is you got to give it to at least the 3rd date to adequately judge if someone's the right fit for you. I've been lucky enough to be in relationships where the first 2 dates, there was kind of good conversation, but there just wasn't a lot of answer. She wasn't really opening up. But then on the 3rd date, when she began to trust me more, when she knew that I wasn't just looking to play around, there was banter. She had scintillating wit. She was funny as hell. And we got along. And I remember thinking to myself, core, blimey, you imagine if I had written her off from the 1st date, it would have been a wrap. So what I'm saying is if there's a gentleman who's not a good talker, he doesn't have a lot of banter, give him at least 3 dates and then decide what you want to do. But you can't change anyone.
Thank you for that. Yeah. Thank you for that. 3 dates, guys. 3 dates. All right. Let me just throw a little bit of a mix in there. I know Delroy's got his finger up, so we're going to come to you in a minute, Delroy. But I just want to say, as we're in the lockdown and we're spending most time communicating on platforms like this or FaceTime, or we're not actually getting to have those dates. Does the 3-date rule apply if you're talking constantly every day?
Absolutely, but it has to be very descriptive. So if me and you haven't even met yet, right? And let's say we're texting every day and we have 3 planned video dates, that counts. So if you're making time, if you're saying, okay, I get off work at this time, I have time at 7 p.m. on a Monday night, that's 1 date. 3 days later, okay, I have time on Wednesday, 6:30, that's a video date. And then, okay, I have time on Sunday at 5 o'clock, that's a video date. That's 3 significant dates. You can't include anything of real communication when it comes to text. You just can't. Because to be honest, I'm trash at texting on purpose because I don't care. I'm not trying to get to know you via text. Text is a platform where you say, do you want to meet here at this time? Yes, I would like to meet here at this time. Okay, great. I'll see you then. Boom, bam. I don't want to know about your granddad from Barbados via text. I don't want to know about the story of when you busted your toe and it stopped you doing track and field. I couldn't care less unless you're talking to me about that on the phone or if I'm meeting you face to face. So any kind of text communication in between those 3 dates should not be conducive to you trying to justify if that's you honestly trying to get to know who someone is.
Thank you for that, Trey. Thank you for
You're
that.
welcome.
And it's more apparent. I hope that's helping someone out there to navigate their relationship a little bit better. Right, I've got Delroy come in, and then I've got another question for Trey here. Delroy, unmute yourself. Unmute yourself.
Right. Basically, I was just going to agree with Trey about the 3 dates theory. Due to the fact that you need time to actually detour yourself, so that you can, make your personality flow forward. And that's really happened between both parties 9 times out of 10, But what I seem to find nowadays is that both parties are hard to satisfy. The man is hard to satisfy and the woman is hard to satisfy. So I just say the twain will never meet, because people are looking for, I don't know what they're looking for. Because sometimes they do meet the person what they can get on with, and that person might not meet the criteria, so they don't look at that person, and then vice versa. You see? So what would you do with a situation?
He cut off. I do beg your pardon. What was your last question? What would you do with a...
But what would you do with a situation like that? Because of the situation where there's a lot of ladies who are meeting guys out there, but they just doesn't meet. Personality-wise, they're okay. Same thing for the guys, but they just don't meet the criteria. So what do you do with that situation?
So, unfortunately, dating right now is harder than it ever has been. Like, competition has just been rife because we have so much access to so many things. And what we're finding right now is, as much as online dating is hard for a lot of people and a lot of people don't like it, there's a lot of data that supports a lot of theories that we've had for decades, right? i.e., essentially, the people who have the most success in online dating are the top 30% of people. But because of the top 30%, what I mean by that is that most people on online dating are the top 30% of attractive people, i.e., the people who look good, the people who are in shape, and the people who have a high ranking profession on their dating profile. So what I'm saying is, because of that, you might have someone who isn't in that top 30% who sees a lot of that and they feel like that's a standard that they should be having. The problem we're having right now, to be frank, is that people are trying to date up. And to be quite frank, they have no reason to, because you should really be dating people that are on the same walk of life as you. For example, I have a lot of clients, to be frank, who are, 45-year-old men who are trying to date, 22-year-old Instagram models with a fat ass and a big pair of boobs. But because that's what they see a lot of on online dating, they want me to help them get that person. And this man might be 44, out of shape. He's a bus driver. And let me be clear, I'm not slamming that man for doing that. But what I'm saying is he's dating someone that essentially would mean he's dating up. and he needs to go for someone who's in the same realm of life as him. It's okay to have a high criteria, but what does it look like if I'm a 50-year-old man who's overweight, who's looking to date someone who is in shape, who's 25 years of age, who has a great job? What do I have to bring to the table? For real, what do I have to bring to the table? A lot of people are asking for things that they can't give. My granddad used to say to me all the time, expect what you can give or shut the hell up. If you expect something for someone and you can't provide it, you have no business asking for it. It's that simple. And the reason why a lot of people are single right now is because they're not looking in the mirror and being realistic with, one, what do I have to bring to the table? Two, what issues do I have to fix with myself? And three, am I asking for things that I can't give? No one asks himself that question, which is why a lot of people are single right now. Oh, someone's muted.
I agree with you totally there, Trey. I agree with you 100%. You know, because a lot of guys are coming across that right now, and a lot of females are coming across that as well. You know, they're dating outside their realm and trying to date, and that's what's causing this singleness right now. You know, so you just have to be patient. That's why personality is going to come into it. Video dating is okay, but you really need to actually meet the person on a face-to-face basis to see how really serious they really are about life, because there's much more you're going to ask when you're speaking to them face to face than even through video link. You see what I'm trying to say? You know, because your body language let you see what they're thinking more than through the screen, you know, through video link, you know. But when you're speaking to them on a personal level, their body language makes you know exactly how they're thinking. That's what I think.
Agree with you more. I always push for at least video chats in the pandemic. I think body language is everything. But like I said, we have too much access to Idris Elba's and Lori Harvey's and Beyonce's and all these other people, men and women, and we're looking at these people and we're thinking, I'm going to find someone like them in real life. And you very well might find someone like that in real life. But unless you have the tools, the personality, and the means to match what they're putting out there, you're going to find it difficult. That's why whenever I work with clients, I give them a 6-month program for things that they have to do, because dating has never been more competitive, because we live in the age of information, we live in the age of instant gratification, and we live in the age of accessibility. So when you turn around and you think to yourself, well, I've done this and I've done that, and I can give you this and I can give you that, there's always going to be a bigger fish. And we don't know if that person you're talking to is even talking to that bigger fish, or is even entertaining that bigger fish. So going back to what you said, you have to lead with your personality. You have to be as genuine and authentic as you possibly can. And you must constantly be working to better yourself. When you're single, your lifestyle, your body, the way you communicate, the kind of family you have, the kind of personality you have, the kind of people you listen to, everything is a brand. And if you truly want to get that person in your life, you need to maximize your own brand the best way you can.
I agree.
Thank you for that, Trey. We've got some comments. Paulette Brown says, Dora, your body language is causing the echo on your microphone. That's what she says.
You're kidding me.
We've got some comments here of agreeing with you. Celine Miller says, preach, Trey, in terms of what you were saying. Therapeutic Melanin saying, yes, people don't want to do the work on themselves, and some people just aren't ready for a relationship.
Preach.
There's also a message from CT that says, men also need to hold their masculine space for the polarity to exist. So many men already feel demasculated by their personal circumstances and self-esteem, which has nothing to do with the woman.
Yes, 100%. Especially, look, let's keep it real, okay? In the Black culture, you know, our grandparents, our parents, and I'm not going to speak for everyone, I'm not going to generalize, but most of us, we've grown up with a pretty masculine, I want to assume a pretty masculine grandfather, a pretty masculine father. And we've grown up with certain principalities and ways that we should behave. And in the last 10 years, society is telling us that we should behave in a different way. And what you have to do as a black man is you have to figure out a way to maintain your masculine frame whilst also being extremely extremely respectful of the modern woman, of her wants, of her needs, whilst also figuring out how you can navigate your wants and your needs, and finding that perfect person that can kind of have that progressive, those kind of old school values, and kind of meld them together. But that's only really ever going to come with honest and genuine communication and being very sincere with what you're looking for.
Thank you. I've just seen some. I agree with you. I've just seen some other messages on another group. So there's loads of different platforms here, Trey, and there's lots of people messaging. There's a Tom Hope. I think Tom Hope is a very upset man. He says these women on this platform don't qualify. I've heard their masculinity week after week, but bruv, you're still here.
Good Lord, he's throwing shade. Tom, brother, like, you know, we love you, man. Like, I don't know.
I think Tom's a little bit insecure. I think
Tom's upset. We've upset Tom.
Tom, man, like, it's not.
Yeah.
Get some positivity. Get some positivity in there, man. Pull him up. You know what
But
I mean?
you know what? He says he's heard it week after week. So therefore, you know what? He's here every week. So something's keeping him here. We love you, Tom.
Tom's not having it. Love you, bro. Send in some good vibes, Tom. Send in some good vibes.
Delroy, you had your hand up. Yeah. Delroy?
Unmute, Delroy.
Unmute yourself.
Tom is telling the truth. There's a lot of alpha female out there, so you know, they'll let a lot of men feel a bit small, really. You know, so at the end of the day,
isn't that on the man though? Isn't that on the man if he's feeling small, not the woman?
What's really happening? That's alpha female, because you know. But this is what's happening. She's not leaving the alpha at the door when she come home. You know, and she's converting to a female. I mean,
so
that. You know, so if she did leave the alpha at the door and went inside and become a female, maybe.
Keep the mic still, Delroy, because we're getting a lot of feedback.
We're getting a lot of feedback, brother. I like what you're saying, but we're getting a lot of feedback. I think what he's saying, right, is I think what he's saying is essentially, you know, the hard thing, and women have it rough right now, right? Because they learned in the last 20, 25 years that in order to make money, be successful in a male-dominated world, unfortunately, sometimes you have to accentuate masculine traits if you want to get to the top, right? That's just kind of how society has kind of pushed women into that corner. So you get a lot of women who are successful, who are high-powered, who go into what Daryl says, sometimes they bring that masculine energy home or in their own life. But we are now kind of transitioning where women are like, look, I can still be successful. I can still embrace my feminine, because we're being far more accepting that women can do both. They always have been, but we've assumed that they have to embrace masculine traits in order to get through in this world. But we're understanding now that doesn't necessarily have to be that way. So going back to what Daryl was saying, essentially, if you are a woman who is significantly successful, you know, you've got your shit together and you have to adopt those masculine traits, or you feel like you have to when you go to work, when you come home or when you're going on a date, just embrace your feminine, relax, and make sure you've chosen a male partner who's going to provide what you're looking for in terms of that masculinity.
Yes, thank you for that. That's good advice. Are you happy with that, Delroy? Yes, you're nodding. Good. I'm glad. I like that. I think, and I'm glad that you kind of expanded on how it is from the female perspective of being that person who is in business or has that male energy in the workplace and all of those things, as to why women are, because women have had to step up a lot in recent years and have to we have a lot of single parent homes now where the mothers are raising the children by themselves, and not necessarily because they don't want the fathers there, because there are some fathers who choose not to be there. So I'm not talking about those fathers who are fighting to see their children. I'm not talking about those fathers. I'm talking about those fathers who relinquish their responsibilities and leave it for the woman to raise the children, to run the home, to do it all. And so when that woman does have to, and she has to take on that masculine energy because she has no choice. And so a man then coming into that environment, into a new environment, who meets this new woman who's been doing this, it's going to take her time to adjust that. And it's also going to take her time to trust this new man that's coming in, because she's had this untrustworthy person, and she's had to do all of these things for herself and for her children. So I'm really glad that you kind of brought that up in terms of women who are more successful, who are doing it for themselves as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think you've hit on such a, I mean, we could have a whole discussion on it later, because I feel like, again, in the Black community, we do have, a decent amount of women that have had to raise a son by themselves, and they have no choice but to adopt the masculine. And that's I mean, God, we could talk about that for hours, but you raised such a good point in that respect.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Trey. Kels is going to come in. Kels, come in. I know, Trey, you're on limited time. So
I can stay in for
Kels,
15 more minutes.
Okay, cool. That's fine by me. Thanks for that, Trey. Kels, come in.
Yeah, just a really quick point, just a bounce of what you were saying. I hope you can hear me, Trey, yeah? And Mr. Guys. The two men that come to me is Margaret Thatcher and also Joyce Mayers. They said the same thing. That both of them said the same thing. Margaret Thatcher and Joyce Mayers, the two men that came to me, and said that, when they're out working or on the pulpit, they're doing their job, and they do come across as being alpha. But when they go home, they're wife. And I think somebody sent something in our group as well. A lady also explained that was from the church. So, and that's also for men as well. When we are at work, we come back home, we're now a father. We have to come across as though we're a gentle being in the home as well, not this abuser. That some people may think that men are, because not all of us are that way. So the point I'm making here is that women outside the home, they're doing their thing. When they come home, their wife, their mother, their whatsoever. So yeah, that's the two women that came to me when we had this discussion.
Yeah, and ultimately, going off what you said, Kels, ultimately it will always go back to caveman days. Men, we are natural protectors. We want to fix things. We want to look after the people that we love. And what a lot of men struggle with alpha females is, well, if she doesn't need me, if she doesn't need protecting, if she doesn't need providing, then why the hell am I here? Why would I even be with you if you don't need me? And that's a lot of issue that men are having right now, because men want to feel needed. Men want to protect. Men want to take care of women. Men want to provide. Men want to, fix things. But if a woman has all of that taken care of, then the man's thinking, well, I mean, what do you need with me? And then he's going over to someone who, I wouldn't say is weak by any means, but someone who actually feels like, hey, I want to be protected by you. I want you to kind of take care of me. Like I want you to partially lead this relationship. And that's the kind of conflict we're having, because we pushed for decades that we need equality, women can do this and blah, blah, blah. And all of that is 100% true. We're always going to stand for that. But a woman should never have to sacrifice her divine femininity just to get ahead. She can do that just by herself. And people like Oprah Winfrey, people like Beyonce have proven time and time again that you can still maintain your femininity, have a healthy marriage or a partnership, and lead from the front.
I keep forgetting to unmute myself. Thank you for that, Trey. Because I was thinking about Oprah actually as a woman, because she does lead from the front and she refuses to marry Stedman. That's not an option, and that's her, you know, for whatever reasons that she has, but she is a very powerful woman. We don't know what Oprah doesn't show us what she does behind closed doors. So
Exactly.
we don't know, and we don't know what Beyonce does behind closed doors either, to be fair. But these are powerful women who are holding their own, and they're holding their space as women in relationships. So we know that powerful women can have relationships. I think there just has to be an understanding, and also I feel that their men have to be confident in who they are. 100%.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And it really does go both ways. Going back to what I said, look, you can't have it both ways. You know, if you want that feminine woman, you have to be a masculine man. If you want that masculine man, you have to be a feminine woman. Both go back to you having confidence in yourself. You have to have confidence in yourself. That's why they say that most men statistically have the most success when it comes to dating and relationships between 28 and 35. The reason why is because they discovered who they are as a man. They spent a decade crafting their career. They spent a decade crafting themselves. They've been through experiences. That's why a woman who is in her early 20s is always going to have more options, because she can have the guy who's 22, just got out of college, trying to come up in the world, versus the guy who's 32, who's successful, who's found out who he is and is driving his own brand. So essentially, as a man, those years from 28 to 35 are going to be your best window of finding a relationship, because that's when you're the most sculpted, so to speak. So going back to, you know, what she was saying, it's critical that as a man, you go in there with maximum confidence and you don't date anyone until you feel like you've got your own life figured out.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Trey. I'm going to just bring Delroy in quickly, and then I'm going to go to another question.
Yeah, I just got one thing. We're comparing our normal people like against Oprah and Beyonce. It doesn't work that way. You know, the majority of us are normal people. And basically, even though we're trying to step up and these alpha females and alpha males are out there, we still can't put ourselves on that level, because these ladies are independent ladies who really don't need a man, you know. And there are ladies out there who do need a man, and there are men out there who do need a woman, and they do need to combine their power, you know. So it's just that the powerful fellow has made it to the top. You know, that's all I have to say. So we can deal within the normal realm, in the not normal people with millionaires. You know.
Okay, Delroy, your mic, we get the gist. Your mic is really, yeah, your mic is really playing up tonight. I think, Trey, did you want to come in there?
Yeah. Oh, do you say Trey or Trey?
I was just asking if you wanted to come in. I was going to come in with something, but I'll let you come in first.
Yeah. You know, it always goes back to the core principles. You know, whenever I work with clients, I say, take away looks, take away money, take away status for like 1 second. What are the core principles that you need? Because going back to what Delroy was saying, you need those core principles for normal people, right? You just need a normal person to have those core principles that you know is going to make you happy, right? So if you go back to the analogy of normal people, you know, are they family orientated? Are they going to be a good parent with you? You know, are they kind? Are they trustworthy? Are they loyal? Are they ambitious? You know, are they generally a good human being? I'm not saying that should be your core principles, but if you have 10 core principles outside of looks, money, and physicalities, those are the things that you want to go off to find your mate, because the rest will figure itself out.
Okay. Thank you for that, Trey. Thank you for that. Faye did want to say something, and then I'm going to come back with some comments. Faye, come in.
I find that a lot of men that I meet perceive me to be a really strong, successful person. And they naturally assume that I don't want a man or need a man. So how do I get around? How do I maneuver that that perception of my own self? Because I know that I can. I think that my voice is quite a powerful one. So when I say things, it's quite impactful. And I don't know that I mean to sound that masculine in the energy, and I'm aware of it in some circumstances. But there's this perception that when I meet someone, that I'm already because obviously I feel like I'm a very together person, and I'm very steady in my life. I don't have any baggage or anything like that. I'm portraying that confidence, but that confidence seems to come across as I don't need a man. And so how do I get over that I don't need a man perception that I appear to be putting out?
Yeah, I would say just instead of worrying about you putting out the energy of I don't need a man, just say I need a man. But obviously not that direct. But you want to say it in a way that has a bit of panache. So if I was you, I would be in situations where if someone says to me, the typical cliche question, "What are you looking for right now?" You would turn around and say, "Look, I'm an independent woman. Like I like to think I've accumulated some success over the years, but that really doesn't mean as much to me as opposed to meeting someone that I can have those experiences with, as much as I've gotten to where I am today. I like the idea of being a man that leads from front. I like the idea of kind of working with a strong man who has his head together. And I'm totally okay with that. I'm a progressive woman, but there may or may not be specific gender roles I actually buy into. I'm not saying that you have to buy into gender roles, but if you do, just lead in with that and just be honest about the kind of relationship that you want. People from the jump are never being very clear with the exact relationship that they want. So they're either scaring the person off, or the person could want exactly what they want, but no one's ever going to know it because they wanted to play it too cool, because they didn't want to seem too desperate. There is a way you can manifest audibly what you want to that person with a high sense of panache without sounding desperate.
Great stuff. Thank you for that, Trey.
You're welcome.
To answer your question, Faye?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think sometimes there is a judgment before some men even have a conversation with you. I think sometimes men will look at what you do and how you function in what you do and make the decision that you are a certain way before they even ask a question, and then will then reflect it. And I'm just going to be honest and reflect it and say, well, she's an alpha female, so I can't talk to her without even trying. And that I see that happen a lot. And there are a lot of women who have complained, maybe that's not the right word, complain, but they have mentioned that in their talks in terms of my clients, especially what's coming now in terms of relationships. I'm hearing this more and more and more, is that the men are not putting themselves forward and prejudging the women on who they are or what they do. But there was a question for you. And it was from Therapeutic Melanin, and she says, what are the top 3 questions we should be asking on a date and why?
Absolutely. Great question. So number 1, you have to ask them what they're looking for. Because just to be frank, if you're looking for a relationship and someone wants to dance around that answer, I think I'll know when I have it. I think I'll know I want to be in a relationship after a few months. Like, if someone's going to dance around what you want, that's an immediate red flag right there, because you don't want to waste your time. Like, for me, I'm in my early 30s now, right? I always just say, what do you want? And if they say, I guess, I know when it comes, or I'm not really sure right now, I'm trying to figure that out. I'm like, honey, you're 28 and you don't know what you want. What have you been doing for 10 years of your life? Like, that in itself gives you so many answers. So you have to find out what they're looking for. 2, you have to find out when their last relationship was, and you have to find out how long it was. Because if someone says, my last relationship was 5 years ago, you're going to need to ask yourself, what happened in those last 5 years? Or if someone says, oh, I was in a relationship 2 months ago, you be thinking to yourself, yo, you need to find yourself for at least another month. The body's not even cold on that person. Fix yourself before you come talk to me. And then you want to find, when you ask that question, you're also figuring out if they say, I've typically had relationships that last, 1 to 3 months. Again, I wouldn't necessarily say it's a red flag, but it's giving you a hint that you might be number 17 on the 3-month parade, okay? And last but not least, I would just say to them, what makes you happy? What are some of your biggest passions in life? Because if someone just says, oh, I work 9 to 5 and that's my biggest passion, well, there's your answer right there. But when someone talks about their passions, when someone talks about what makes them happy and you let them talk about that as long as they possibly can, that gives you such a big and large window into their soul. You can figure out exactly who they are, just by those 3 questions. The first 20 minutes of any first date should be you listening and them talking. That way you get the most answers you could ever have.
Therapeutic melanin, I hope that has answered your question. Hope you wrote those answers down. Trey, is there anything else you want to say before? Because I know we're on a time limit for you. So is there anything that you want to say? And plug yourself, sir, before I wish you farewell.
Yeah, would definitely like to come in here again. I feel like everyone had some great questions. I love your forum. You can find me on thefirstdatefix.com. You can find me on Instagram at thefirstdatefix. You can find me on YouTube at thefirstdatefix. I release 3 videos on my Instagram every week. I release 1 video on my YouTube every week. Would love to help any of you who need some online dating advice. I usually do free consultations. If you just send me screenshots of your profile, I'll tell you what you need to fix. Most importantly, you know, I just want to help every single person find love in any way, shape, or form. Thank you so much for your time, people.
Trey, I want to thank you for being here this evening, and I will be calling you back. We'll be doing some other bits and pieces, so I will be calling you back. Thank you so much for spending time with us. Therapeutic Melanin says, thank you, Trey. Yes, great feedback also. So, guys, do show some love for Trey. Thank you so much, and do stay on the line because the show doesn't finish until midnight tonight. Trey, thank you. God bless you. Right, guys. So that was Trey there, Trey Innis, the date fix guru. As he said, he's dropped some gems on here this evening. Patrick Solomon says, well executed. Therapeutic Melanin says, thanks, Yvonne. All noted. Thank you, lovely. Wonderful, 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 wonderful. We are going to carry on. Anthony McGregor says, yes, Trey. Yes, Trey. And Lorraine says, thank you, Greg. Great feedback. Greg, who's Greg? Who's Greg? All right, Greg. I don't know who that is. I think you meant Trey, love. I think you meant Trey. All right, so we're going to carry on with the show. And as Trey's gone, we are going to carry on with, hold on a minute. We are going to carry on with the conversation. We did have Theo, who was supposed to come back in. Yes, hold on a minute. There we go. Right. So Theo is going to come back in as a married person. I asked him to come in the last 45 minutes of the show. The reason being is because over the weekend, I've had some conversations around Valentines and what Valentines means and what its purpose has been over the last few decades. One of the conversations I had on Sunday was with a young man. And you know, I call everybody my age young man. But this young man was saying, he was asking my point of view on Valentine's and why is it that so many females get so upset when their partner doesn't or isn't fully immersed into the whole Valentine's scenario. Therapeutic Melanin saying, is Trey single? I don't think he is. I think he has somebody. But if you would like to contact him, I'm sure he will tell you for himself. All right. So I'm not. She's laughing. I'm laughing as well. And Herbie's here also. Herbie's come to join the conversation. Right. So Tony Cox says it's a pagan festival. There's many things that fireworks and all those things that people get involved in that's pagan festivals. So hi, Alarine. Lovely for you to be here. So my question is, my question in terms of this conversation is what value, I'm going to ask, what value does Valentine's or the day of love have amongst us now? And this is why I've brought the two. Herbie, you're off screen. Your camera's off. So I brought Herbie and Theo back in as two married people. Herbie's gone again. Just to get their perspectives as to why they may or may not indulge or have. And it's funny because it's just me and Faye as females. It's more of a male panel tonight. So guys, you can really say what you want to say, right? Really, really say what you have to say. Patrick Solomon says every day is Valentine's Day. Every day is a day of love. You know, I want to take the name Valentine's out because it's got so many different meanings. But the beginning and the end of it is that it's the day to celebrate love. It's not necessarily about Valentine's, even though it's called Valentine's. It's not necessarily about Valentine's, or people are not focusing on Mr. Valentine, Saint Valentine, or whatever they want to call him. People are not focusing on that. They're focusing on this day of love. So why is it more women are into Valentine's, or appear to be? Let me just correct my language. Why is it that more women appear to be more interested in Valentine's than men? Men, why is it? Is there any of you guys into Valentine's? Kels, are you into Valentine's?
Yeah, I'm into it, but I didn't think that was the case, that more women are into it than men. I didn't kind of see it that way. I think that's the first time I'm actually hearing it like that.
Okay.
I think it's definitely a day that's recognized that if you have a woman or you have a man, that you're going to be doing something with each other. So it's almost like it's Mother's Day or Father's Day. And as somebody put in just now, it's like a reminder, to, let's continue what we're doing, which I think that's a nice thing to do. It's a nice gesture for whatever Valentine's mean, which we don't really want to go into that because that's another story in itself. But it's a really good token of expression to say, we're going to do this today and let's do this every day for the rest of our lives. So let's still continue doing that.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
I think you need one day, because I'm ever romantic person, and I think romance is every day for me. If I'm in a relationship, if I'm in a loving relationship, then there has to be some form of romance every day. So to have, I'm not a keen believer of Valentine's Day and having one day just to celebrate that. I think there should be something personally for me that maintains my relationship, and part of that is to keep romance alive, and that's a daily thing. That's not just a one day thing.
Okay.
So
is that in response to what I just said?
Yeah, because you're saying, well,
okay,
have that one day.
No, okay. Well, there is also Mother's Day and there's also Father's Day. Maybe we should get rid of those as well, because every day should be Mother's Day and Father's Day.
I agree with you, Kels. I agree with you 100%. With that sentiment, with the Father's Day and Mother's Day, yeah. I absolutely agree.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
I do. Delroy, you got your hands up. So speak. Right, so Delroy, before you start speaking, because your microphone is terrible. I'm just saying, right? Not to make you feel bad. So I want you to think about what you've got to say and say it as quickly as possible. So that, because the interference is a lot. All right, and I want to hear what you got to say. You're on mute. Okay, go. That's it.
I just think that Valentine's Day is a bit too commercial, too much competition between man and female. Basically, it's not good to show love, but it became too commercial now, really. And a lot of people. I was thinking couples out there who basically show their partners a bad year and just do one good deed on Valentine's Day and expect it close up the bad year, So I just think it's just a commercial thing, really,
Okay, thank you for that, Delroy. I do want to ask what in terms of how the competitive between male and female. I don't quite understand what you meant by that. I get the commercialism, but from the fact of the cards and all of that, and people spending lots of money, which they don't really need to. But I think for most people that I've spoken to, it's about the sentiment of what the day represents, not actually, you know, the buying of the gifts. It's a celebration of love. And like I said, I'm going to say this, I haven't spoken to all the whole world, I haven't, but I can only go by the people who come into my network and people who call. I think, and as Kelly on said, rightly said, you know, it should be something that is celebrated every day. Love should be celebrated every day. And if you're going to look at it like that in terms of the day itself, then we should get rid of Father's Day and Mother's Day and all the other things that we celebrate. I think sometimes we put too much emphasis on things that are not important. That's my personal view of that. It's not, you know, if you know, like I said, one of the things of the conversation that I said is that women are more emotive. They're more emotionally based than men. Men are they like information, and they're not so much in it. Not that they're not in tune, but they're not so emotional about things. And so for women, they want to feel that fluffy feeling, that they want to feel like the person that they're with is, you know, making them feel like they're special on that day. And I think a lot of things with women, rightly or wrongly, and women don't shoot me down for saying this, but if you do have a partner and you've got lots of friends around you and your partner doesn't really kind of value the whole Valentine's Day and is not buying you stuff, when your friends are asking you, especially if they're single, oh, so what did your man buy you for Valentine's Day? It's a thing. She's going to feel away. And she's going to feel away. Rightly or wrongly, I'm not saying that's me, but I know that does happen. Delroy's shaking his finger at me. I don't know what this shaking means. So Delroy, come off mute. That's it.
That the competition between the females, they make them feel away. And the same thing with the male. For example, a male might get a ring from his missus for Valentine's Day, and he goes to his other mate and he said, "I got a pair of socks." The male feel away. You know, it's the same thing the female is. You know, the female might get a rose, another one might get a ring. The other female feel away. You know, the competition is too much. Now the competition is too much. It even make the dating impossible. You know, because a female is looking for a man who can, and a man is looking for. Both parties are looking for somebody to give them something. They're not going into it with a more genuine thing. You know, they're not going into a relationship more genuinely. You know,
so do you think that Valentine stops people from being genuine?
Yes.
I'm just asking a question.
Yes.
A question. Okay.
You know, personally, if you're gonna celebrate a day, you celebrate the birthday, right? The day the day she was born to come into.
Right, you're breaking up, Delroy. Delroy, your mic is breaking up. We can't hear you.
If you're gonna celebrate. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Yeah, you're gonna celebrate. You celebrate the birthday, the day she was born, the person who, you know, the born that she was put on earth for you at that particular time. You see, you might have gone through a lot in life, but when you meet this particular person, if she didn't born that particular day, it's not, you know, she wouldn't be here. Celebrate that.
So should we stop celebrating Father's Day and Mother's Day then as well?
Well, everybody have a father and mother. So
that's
if you want to stop,
everybody wants to feel love. All right, Delroy, we're gonna have to take you off because your mic is terrible. Sorry, it's really bad. Or take it out completely. Right. So Anthony McGregor says, back in the day, a man would get the sack if he did not bring the roses. Is that true? Is that true? He'd get pushed to the curb. I don't know. I've never been one for roses.
I don't know any women, but I do know women who are very disappointed if their man hasn't done anything for them. And my question is, what are they doing? They have a 364 days.
Well, yeah, I think
like me, it's an everyday thing. And what are they doing? So if you need one day, then maybe your relationship isn't as solid as you think it is. Because if you need one day to show each other you love each other, then I question the rest of it. Do you know what I mean? 'Cause to me, validating that you love somebody is a daily thing. It doesn't have to be a big gesture. Love is not about big gestures. Why you love somebody, in my opinion, why you love somebody is about the small little things. It's the little things that add up to the bigger things. And so you can do a little thing every day. I know when I was in a relationship, in my last relationship, I would get those little Clinton cards and put them in his wallet, and he'll go off to work and he'd see it. And do you know what I mean? Because it's those little things for me that are validating my love more than that one day.
Okay, so my thing is then, so you have the everything every day. So why not have it on Valentine's Day too?
Well, every day, Valentine's Day is a day, isn't it? I mean, but it's
Exactly,
it's a
and
bigger
that's my
deal, though.
point.
It's a bigger deal, though, isn't it, on Valentine's Day? It doesn't have to be a bigger deal. It's just part of what you do on a daily basis. Valentine's Day is hyped up, roses are much more money, cards, and all of these things that we're doing. Do we really need to have all of those things to express our love? Is the question. Is my question.
I think that I'm going to ask Theo. Oh no, hold on a minute. Before Theo comes in, because Kels, you had your hand up, didn't you? You did.
Yeah, no, I was just going to mention that, it'd be great if we had holidays every day, and some people can choose to live that way. I don't know how they will be able to pay their bills, but you do have bank holidays, you do have wedding anniversaries, you do have certain celebrations. I don't see the issue of, I mean, it's like sometimes it's just very hard to please humans, people put in certain days so that we can have certain days for something. It doesn't mean that you have to do it, as such. And it is terrible that somebody wait all the way for 364 days of the year for that one day. It's not going to be a good day anyway, if that's the day you're going to be choosing to show your love with somebody. I think they're just templates or just symbols. That's what I was going to say. I think we are maybe over analyzing this. That's my thoughts.
Theo, come in. Thanks, Kels. I agree with you.
Good evening, everybody. So, what do you want me to be? My opinion on Valentine's? It's just another day, plain and simple. It's just another day. If you're in a relationship, you got to show love consistently throughout the year. If you're just going to wait for that one day to express your love, then your relationship's not going to last very long. So it's about doing it consistently throughout the year. Some people go out and make a big deal of it. It's up to you as a couple. Everybody's different. So some couples make a big deal of it. That's the day they're going to express a bit more love than whatever. It's like a special day, but I'm not really fussed about all that stuff. I'm not Mr. Romantic that way anyway. So I'm not overly romantic. I wouldn't put myself as in the romantic bracket like some other guys, but yeah. If I see something and I like something, I'll buy it for my wife. Doesn't matter what day of the year it is. I'm not fussed. I brought her something this year, 2 weeks ago, but I gave it to her Valentine's, but it wasn't purposely for Valentine's. It was something I saw. So, I'm not that type of guy. I told her from the get-go, don't expect things on Valentine's because I'm not really fussed about it, to be honest. So, and she's cool with it.
Thank you for that. The thing that I got from that is that because I know we've had conversation about this, is that you did buy something for your wife like 2 weeks before, but presented it on Valentine's Day, and I'm sure she received that with gratitude and love and was very happy with that. Is your wife into Valentine's?
She was until she met me.
Okay. Okay.
Well, if Valentine's Day is an important day for you as a woman, I think the reason why possibly loads of women get upset on that day is because men don't buy into it as much as women do. So if you're a woman that buys into Valentine's Day, let that be known from the jump. At the end of the day, that's a conversation that you have with your partner.
To have, yeah, absolutely.
Like Trey said, put your intentions out there. So if something Valentine's Day is important to you, that person should know from the jump that Valentine's Day is important to you. And that's why I believe that a lot of women are upset, because they didn't establish that conversation.
Just tell you why women are upset, Faye.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why women are upset. Because a lot of men don't show love throughout the year.
That's right. I believe that too.
So at least Valentine's, that's why Valentine's Day was created, for those guys that didn't do anything. So come Valentine's Day, you haven't done anything. I know, Tony, the history. I'm not going to go into the history. I'm just going to go into what it is.
Yeah,
some guys don't do nothing for the whole year. They don't buy their wife flowers. They don't do anything. They work. So this one day, the wife's like, look, there's a day in the diary. This is it. So yeah, that's a lot of women guy they get upset. If you're doing it consistently throughout the year, Valentine's doesn't mean anything, then does it? It's just another day. But if you don't do anything at all, and then they're saying at least one day out of the 365 is Valentine's, take me out for dinner. So
okay, thank you for that, Theo. Tony, do you have anything to contribute?
I mean, I'm totally against it, because if you're a romantic guy, you're a romantic guy. You know, you don't need a special day to show romance. You fixed your wife's car. You painted the bedroom. You fixed the washing machine. You know, you bought dinner on X, Y, and Z occasion. You went on holiday in the year. You did so many things in the year. What do I need a day for? It's pointless, and it's just a marketing tool. Capitalism at its greatest. Yeah, pagan festival, which they use to get money. A £2 rose turns into a £10 rose. Yeah,
They do that at Christmas
so
as well,
man has to go out
and
and
Easter.
spend X amount of money, and as most men will
And Black
testify,
Friday.
you go out and spend exactly, Kels. You go out and you spend your £80 bouquet of roses and a bottle of Prosecco and whatever, and you get a pair of socks in return. Not for me, thanks. Listen.
Oh, that sounds like sour grapes there, Tony. Sounds like sour grapes there.
No.
Oh dear. Pair of socks. Oh dear.
If it's your thing, it's your thing. I'm not going to bemoan anybody who is into all of that junk. But if you are, good for you. But for me, pagan. I don't deal with pagan festivals. Simple as that.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Herbie, because you haven't come in yet.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Can you hear?
Yeah, I can hear you. We can hear you.
Good. Yeah, the Valentine thing went out the window like years back, you know. Early days used to celebrate it, get this Valentine card and get the flowers or whatever present. But when I found out about the actual Valentine's Day and the history behind it, and then really and what the day really represented, I thought, you know, something. It's an everyday thing for me. You know what I mean? I love up my wife every day, so I thought myself like, it's just another day in it, just spend more money. So why do that? So to me, every day is a love day for me, you know. So whether Valentine or not, my wife would even notice. You know what I'm saying? Because you know, every time, you know, it's every day. The truth, it's a day. So yeah, but people want to do it. I mean, I said that, you know. It's a nice thing, a nice little gesture if you just start in a relationship to kind of get things kind of going. But I wouldn't kind of focus on it, you know what I mean? Because some people, you know what I mean, if you miss it or you don't get the right thing, you know what I mean, or you know, you get many ladies talk and say, oh, what did your man get you for Valentine's Day? And you never get you nothing, or just a card. Then it's like, oh, I just got a card. I got this, I got that. Then it's just end up, you know what I mean? Nah, you know, so just nah.
And this is the thing. And this is why at the beginning of this I said that a lot of men, not most, it's just the men that are not into Valentine's, but women are. Women are. And I just wonder if that is the reason why so many of our men not single, but are not getting through to some of the women. Because if a woman is, if this is what a woman wants, especially in the beginning, as Herbie said, in the beginning of a relationship, if this is what the woman wants, and she's made that clear, that's how, she wants to celebrate, she wants to go out. How you pay for it is irrelevant. You work that out between the two of you. But she wants to go out, she wants to spend that time with you as a significant day for her. Why wouldn't you want to do that? And I hear the paganness and the this and the that, but there's lots of pagan festivals that that we get into. So for me, I'm just going to push that aside, because I think we have to get to the place where we can have a conversation about these things without making it like, oh, it's a foolish thing, it's an idiot thing. People have their own opinions. People believe in love, and they believe, for whatever reason, they believe that this day, as much as there's every other day, is they're showing love, but they want to have this time as well with everybody else, because globally it's the day of love globally. Right? So I don't call it Valentine's. I call it Valentine's for marketing purposes, but for anyone that knows me will know that I call it the day of love. That is the day to celebrate. Like I'd celebrate my birthday, like I'd celebrate Mother's Day, like I'd celebrate Easter, like I'd celebrate Christmas, because none of these things actually happened on this day. They're just a representation of a thing. So and that's my question, or my thoughts on the whole Valentine's thing. I mean, Kel made some good points earlier on, in terms of overthinking it. It doesn't have to be so serious, and I don't think it has to be. But when I hear, I heard someone say, I don't believe in it. No, I don't believe in it, and I'm not doing it, and but but supposing it's important to your partner, supposing it is, do you compromise there, or do you just say, no, I'm sticking to my guns? So this is where I'm going to ask the two married people, if your wives were like, I'm really into it, would it be something that you would subscribe to keep her happy?
Well, the thing is, it'll just be doing it for doing its sake, to tell the truth. You know what I mean? I wouldn't sort of like, if it's something for happy and she liked it, you know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say, oh, I'm not gonna do it. You know what I mean? If you want roses or something on that certain day and stuff to make her feel good, and probably tell her friends that she gets something, then you know what I mean? It's not going to bother me. I'll buy the thing and get the card or whatever. But you know what I mean? I'll have a discussion about it to sort of say, well, this is not really like what I like to do, and you know what I mean, not feel happy with it. But if it's something you want to do, you know what I mean? There's things you do that you don't really want to do. You might want to buy your wife a new pair of shoes, what costs X amount of money, and you're thinking, well, I don't really want to do this, but you like the shoes, and he's gonna wear two tie and put one side, but you like the shoes, so you buy it. Keep her happy in it. So there's some things just do, but yeah, I'll have a conversation to sort of say, well,
because you said, Herbie, that you used to do it, but I know that you and Michelle have been married for a long time, so there would have been discussions and around it. So I know you used to do it, and so you did it for a reason back then.
Yes, and it was like a special day. I think sort of years back it was a bit more kind of like a genuine thing. You know what I mean? People used to get cards, and your Valentine, you never used to know who they were from. You know what I mean? Even before like married and all that, you get a Valentine's card. It's like, who's his Valentine card from? You know what I mean? And it was a I don't know if it's still apparent today, where a woman can propose to a man. You know what I mean? On that day as well. So there were certain benefits. I mean, in courting is quite good, because it's a time when you can kind of just, if you like a lady, But like a man, you can kind of have an opportunity to sort of like, you know what I mean, send them a card and, you know, you can make it anonymously, or you can put it,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, like anonymously, but basically kind of like a little clue that they know who he's from, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's to me, it's like a fun day thing still, but you said I wouldn't take it seriously, you know what I mean? I wouldn't really. But yes, if my wife was into that, it would be, I wouldn't not do it, you know what I mean, for the sake of just not doing it, you know what I mean? She like that, I go along with it.
Okay.
Yeah, have a conversation.
Thank you for that, Herbie. As you mentioned about the anonymously, or I did, or I don't know which one. Therapeutic Melon says, I remember being in school and we would send and receive Valentine's cards, but usually anonymously. And I think that's how it started out, right? It was an anonymous thing. If you liked somebody, you would send them this card or blah, blah, blah on the day. I think the seriousness of it has taken away some of the fun element of it. Some of the ladies are saying, well said, Yvonne, love day it is that's what they call. We just need to change the name. Joe Phillips says, you will be happy to make her happy. Nevada Cater says, wow, times have changed. They have changed, and they have. As we have got older, I think we've become a little bit more cynical as well in terms of these things. I think if you were to ask the younger people, the younger folk, the teenagers and upwards of 20-year-olds, they might have a different view of Valentine's. But I think certainly as we get older, maybe it changes our opinion. But Thea, I'm going to come to you. I'm going to ask you the same question. If your wife was really into Valentine's,
Just make her happy. It's not because we do it any other time of the year for something else, isn't it? She likes going. I don't know, clothes shopping. I don't particularly like going clothes shopping with her because it's like that's my day done and my life's over because I'm stuck sitting in one corner of the shop while she tries on 50 million outfits. But I still do it because it makes her happy. You know what I mean? So celebrating a day that she wants to, do something, it's minor. As I said, it's every day is a love day. It should be some sort of affection or appreciation to each other. So if it means that day is a day she likes to do something because that's what she's always done, what's a dinner? I'm gonna have dinner tomorrow, the day after. So it's nothing. It's nothing really, to be honest. I would say I don't like it. It's not my thing. But like Herbie said, it's gonna make my wife happy. Then hey, as they say, happy wife, happy life. As I said, I don't like going clothes shopping with her, but I still do it. You know what I mean? I still do it.
Thank you for your honesty.
So it's all good, man.
Yeah. Thank you for your honesty.
Just a very quick thing. Sorry. Could Faye take off her glasses again, please? That's actually quite sweet. Yeah, your glass. Yeah, take it off. My good God. I never see. Look at that beauty. You were hiding behind your glasses. What's wrong with you?
Trade on it. Guys, this
blushing.
This is the talk, just a front,
He's blushing. Listen, the men are hitting on Faye hard, on this show.
You know what I mean? But big sister thing,
Expose it, Herbie. Expose it.
I can see. I just get into the habit of wearing them all the time, but I can see that. I can still see them.
You look like Superwoman right now. You know what I mean? From Clark Kent or whatever her name would be to Superwoman. That's what you look like.
Thank you, Kels.
Sorry, man. Great one, carry on.
Kelly, I think you mean Batwoman, because Batwoman is a black woman. Supergirl is white. Batwoman is black. For those Marvelites and the DC people who know, those who know, Batwoman is black.
Okay, then. Got a message from Nevada, which I thought was quite an interesting message. He says, I still send Valentine's Day messages to my kids and my ex, even though she has a man. It makes her happy. There you go.
Fair enough.
Well, fair enough. Good for
What
you.
does her man say though? I'm curious to know what her man says.
Well, if he's Nevada, tell us how many years have you been doing this?
And what does her man say?
How many years have you been doing this for your ex? That's an interesting. And what does her man say?
It might help him. It helps
Please
the man not having
answer.
to do anything. I suppose,
That'd
isn't it? He doesn't have to do anything. Or someone else is doing it. I'm gonna. Everyone, you remember saying about school? I remember being at school and getting the Valentine's cards. He's always hated me.
Hold on. Hold on. Yeah.
Nevada is a troublesome guy, man. I thought I was bad. That's troublesome.
Yeah, you're troublesome, man. You're troublesome. Yeah, and he's still gonna continue to do it as well.
Of course, because he knows it's winding him up.
Yeah. Oh, good for you. Good for you. He says him jealous. Yeah. Keep sending them. If that's what makes it, if you want to keep the mother of your children happy, then you keep her happy. Fighting but hold on, Nevada. Hold on a minute. Because Nevada have you still got your 6-year-old person that you just see from time to time? Do you remember Nevada? Nevada was the guy that had was it a booty call, he said?
Yeah.
Friends with benefits for 6 years. And we were like saying, no, that's a relationship. No, that's a relationship. But yeah. So what about your lady, your booty call lady, or your friends with benefit? Do you buy her Valentine's card? Or do you just do that for the mother of your children? I'm interested to know.
Everyone, if you see Michelle's scenario, I'm trying to wait.
Yeah, if a man's football team is in the cup final and your lady disregards that because she's not in that and she books for you both to go out, a man would not be happy.
Yeah, but we still go out. We'll tape it and watch it later.
Would you? I
know plenty man that would just say, okay, whatever. And some guys won't. It just depends.
If she does that, she's uneducated.
Oh.
Really? Explain, Tony.
So if I'm an avid football fan, the one thing I will do is tell my partner exactly when not to book me certain things because they're important dates. If, for instance, I'm going to watch the cup final and my team is in it, I'm telling you about 3 months, 4 months in advance. Cup final, babe, 10th of June. We might be in it. Whatever you do, keep that in your diary because that might be the day we're going to Wembley.
Okay, and she turns around and she says,
closer and closer. If your team is in that, you get more excited and you keep educating your partner. Babe, we've just got through to the semi-finals. It's now May. We might actually be in the cup final on the 10th of June. She knows.
Okay, so equally now, Tony, I'm going to say to you, you see the same importance that you have for that cup final? She has it for Valentine's Day. What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
A cup final doesn't require.
She wants to go out. She wants to go out for a meal. It's important. It's equally as important to her.
Cup final is not a pagan festival.
Sorry. Yeah. Let's move on.
It's not a pagan festival.
Let's move on. Therapeutic Melanin says, a few weeks ago, I received 12 roses via post, but there was no card. So you have an admirer, my darling. You have an admirer. You have an admirer. We would like to know. So if there is a man out there who sent those roses, please contact the show. Michelle says, that's rude, Mr. Cox. You made my point exactly. You've made her point exactly. That's what she said. Yeah. So, okay. So we're coming up to the last 5 minutes of the show. And I do hope. Oh, Shay. Oh, there's more messages. Sorry. Nevada says there was on Valentine's Day. She says she wined and dined me. She got what she wanted. So we're good. Left in the morning. Well, all right, Mr. Nevada, Mr. Cato. All right.
Yay.
Patrick Solomon says, Tony can't afford the flowers. That's what he said to you. Listen, guys, we're coming up to the last 5 minutes of the show. And as you know, we had our dating expert, Trey Innis, in earlier, the first date fix. You can find him on Instagram, and also you can find him on YouTube, the first date fix, if you would like to contact him about getting some more dating advice. Also, I want to go to you and ask you guys, what was your one takeaway, as we always do at the end of the show? What was your one takeaway from being on the show today? So I'm going to start at the bottom and work my way up. So I'm going to start with, well, Theo, I know you've just come in. So is there anything that you got from today? Were you listening, Theo?
I was listening to bits because I'm in the studio. Just a little bit. I caught some. What was it? He said something towards the end. I think he was giving some dating tips to, is it therapeutic melanin? He was giving some tips. I'm trying to remember what the tip was now. I should have wrote it down. But the tips he was giving was, I think it was very, very, very good. But the 3 months rule, yeah, I definitely know about the 3 months rule. I was one of those 3 months rule kind of guys. So yeah.
The 90 days.
90 days, yeah, I know about that. So yeah. So I heard him mention that. I went, oh, I didn't know what he was saying around about it, but I was definitely one of those guys after 3 months, yeah. Things had to kind of pull away. But yeah, he sounded interesting. I didn't get to hear most of it, so it was quite interesting. I heard.
Good, lovely. Thank you for your input.
I might get some dating tips and use them on my wife.
That's right. That is right. That's where you use them. That's right. Anthony McGregor says it's been great. Chin chin. Chin chin to you, my friend. Thank you for being here. Tony, any takeaways?
Just like literally just listen to what the man said. I let him talk because he was throwing pure gems. You know, listen to what he said. He didn't say nothing that was wrong. Some people might say some of what he was saying was controversial, but it wasn't wrong.
Thank you. Delroy? You got a different thing now? You're still muted, man.
You're mute, Delroy.
Okay, all I have to say is, although I don't believe in Valentine's, you know, at some point in your life, you still have to compromise and take out your partner and give her a good time. Even if it's on Valentine's Day, you have to do it, you know. It just make life easier, you know. But make her aware in the beginning that it's something you're not into, but make special time sometime. That's all I can say.
Lovely. Thank you. Patrick Solomon says, lovely smile, Faye. Kellyon, I'm coming to you next.
Can you see me? Am I moving, yeah?
Yeah, you're moving. Oh. We can see you.
For some reason I froze. Okay, good. All right. Yeah, I thought bringing on Trey was a fantastic idea. It was brilliant, I'd say, and very much was very well balanced. There was no, like, he wasn't one-sided on any side. He explained it on both sides, which was beautiful to hear. The 3 questions was great. I think it was Melanie that asked that question. What's the 3 questions you would ask? And I think it was, what are they looking for like another spouse? I mean, the other person. What are they looking for? When was their last relationship? And I think the third one I might have missed it. Was it listening to the person and hearing their heart? I can't recall. But it was good to that question was asked, and have that as a template when you're meeting somebody. Make sure that those questions are asked so you know where it could possibly go. So brilliant.
You're on mute, Miss Yvonne. You're on mute.
Sorry, Faye, what were your takes? Thank you, Kellyon. I said all of that and you didn't even hear me. Thank you. And Faye, what were your takeaways?
He answered the questions that I asked, and I was I got some very good tips for how I move forward. So that was good for me.
Thank you, my darling. Right. Thank you. Well, I hope that you all enjoyed the show tonight. Try
You didn't
to
ask
make
Tony.
I did.
Did she?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. I
she
went
did.
across.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you did.
I did. Yes. I know. I did. The third question is what makes you happy. That was the third question. What makes you happy? First question was what are you looking for? Second question, when was your last relationship? And the third question is what makes you happy? Really simple questions to ask, and then you can elaborate and deep dive further into that. So yes, been a fantastic show. I want to thank Trey Innis for agreeing to be on the show. Really wanted to give, as he is a first date tip person, really wanted to give the singles something to chew on. We do a lot of talking on this show, a lot of talking, but talking without action, talking without being understood, and talking without action is a waste of breath. So I really wanted to bring something in that would educate and move us forward and help us along our journey, because I know that we do have some singles in our group. But just to say this, that we had at the beginning of lockdown, we had far more female panel members single than what we do now. So something is happening. Our single ladies are moving forward and they are getting involved in relationships. Even though we are in a pandemic, it's still possible to find love. So on that note, I want to encourage you one and all to go out there and find love. Don't be scared. Don't be scared of it, but embrace it. And once you find it, hold on to it. This is your girl Yvonne Michelle. This is the After Dark Show, and we are out. We are finished for this evening, but we will be back next week. Next week's show. Hold on. Let me just make sure I know what I'm going to tell you. What next week's show is? Next week's show. Next week's show, we are going to have some Black female authors who have written books about relationships. They are going to be here talking a little bit more about relationships as well next week. We will still have our panel. We will have a great show next week. So on that note, I want to wish you all a good week, and stay safe, stay blessed. Ciao.
Ready? You got me running, got me running. Shake it, shake it, shake it.